On this episode of Morganton Matters, we're going to be talking about what happens here at the city's waste treatment plant. And we're going to be talking with Boris, our Water Resources Director. Brad, why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself and your background and how you got into the water and wastewater business.
Okay. I'm Boris. Been in the water and sewer industry for about 22 years now. I've got a Bachelor of Science degree in biology. I'm actually a certified water treatment plant operator and a process control chemistry certified technician as well.
So when did you start working for Municipal Systems?
I started in 1995. Again, I've been with the City of Morganton for almost 5 years now, and I started out as a lab technician and progressed on through the ranks, and now I'm enjoying the position of Water Resources Director for the City of Morganton.
Excellent. Mm-hmm. So we're on location at the waste treatment plant. Why don't you tell us a little bit about this plant, when it was built, kind of what changes have happened over the years?
Okay. Plant was built in the early 70s, around 1972, and it was designed for a more industrial wastewater base. Over the years, we've seen the population change a little bit in Morganton. The industrial waste stream has changed with the loss of a lot of the textile industry, furniture manufacturing, and we found the need to convert more to a biological waste treatment as opposed to our pure oxygen facility that was built years ago.
Tell me, what happens here at the waste treatment plant? What are we doing?
Well, it's no mystery, but when people flush their toilet, water, sewer doesn't just disappear into the ground. It makes its way through a series of sewer pipes. We have a little over 200 miles of sewer pipe within the city, and it all makes its way through a series of pump stations. A lot of it can come to the plant via gravity, and once it's here, throughout our process, we try to just continue to remove solids, break the waste down biologically, and then it ends up at our compost facility as usable Class A compost, and the water is disinfected with chlorine, dechlorinated, and sent back to the Catawba River.
And, I mean, that was a quick summary. But
Very quick.
There's a lot more to it than that,
Very
right?
quick. A lot of processes.
Federal and state guidelines. Tell me a little bit about that.
We are regulated by federal and state wastewater guidelines. We have an NPDES permit, a National Pollution Discharge Elimination System permit, and we have a series of parameters that we need to meet or exceed. If we don't meet or exceed those standards, we will be issued a notice of violation from the state, which is a bad thing.
Okay. Now, how many people do you have working here at the facility?
We have 17 employees that make this facility run 24/7.
Even on Christmas?
Even on Christmas, New Year's Day, while everybody's enjoying time with their family, we have staff here at the plant making sure that when you do flush your toilet or when an industry does discharge, we can treat it adequately.
And you said there's 200 miles?
A little over 200 miles of collection lines and a little over 300 miles of water distribution lines.
That is a lot of pipe.
It's a lot of pipe.
I think within the past, 4 or 5 years, you've started a program to kind of rehab some of those pipes. And
right. We've been very aggressive within the last 4 years addressing I&I, which is inflow and infiltration. Anytime you have a significant rainfall event, pipes do have cracks, manholes do have openings into the sewer system, and that storm water makes its way into our sewer system. Well, when that comes to the treatment plant,
we still got to treat
it overloads it hydraulically, and we run the risk of not meeting our permit limits. We also don't get any revenue. We call that non-revenue sewer. Anytime the rainwater gets into our sewer system, we have to pay to treat it, but we don't get any revenue from the customers. So we've been very aggressive doing sewer line rehab, manhole rehabilitation, and we've significantly reduced the amount of I&I into our system, which generates more revenue for us. We don't have to spend, we don't have to have the expense of treating that rainwater, which gives us more dollars to spend on infrastructure improvements.
Okay. So the facility was built in 1972, and we've done various improvements throughout the years, right? But the most recent investment here was in 2013, right?
Right.
All right, tell us a little bit about that.
2013, we had an $11 million capital improvement project. It was geared more towards regulatory requirements. This structure that you see behind us, it's a 1.3 million gallon equalization basin, and it was designed to hold large amounts of water during heavy rainfall events.
That's a lot of gallons.
It's a lot of gallons. And we also had some improvements done at our influent pumping station. We had some improvements that were targeted towards our centrifuge facility to help dewater some of the solids for our composting process. And we also had some electrical upgrades to different pieces of equipment throughout the plant.
What issues was the plant facing that required that kind of investment?
We were starting to see a lot of solids pass through the plant during heavy rainfall events. It was hydraulically overloading the plant, and at that time we decided that instead of going after more capacity, treatment capacity, the thought behind that was to improve the influent pumping station and also build this 1.3 million gallon structure, which was easily able to handle some of the water during those high runoff events.
So that investment in 2013 addressed the issues we were having?
Yes.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
And I know in this year's budget we also improved, or the council approved some money for some more investments, right? Tell us about that.
We're going to be starting off a $10 million capital improvement project. What we found was in 1972, when the plant was built, the industrial discharge was completely different. We had a process, a pure oxygen process, that started to reach the end of its useful life.
We had a lot more factories.
Had a lot more factories.
Creating a lot more waste.
Absolutely, and different kinds of waste. It had a lot more chemical oxygen demand, a lot of furniture factories, textiles, things like that. So this new project that we're looking at now was going to address converting from a more industrial discharge, chemical discharge that we had back in the early 70s to a more biological discharge. And with that process change, we're converting from pure oxygen to fine bubble diffusion. It's more of an aeration process.
That's because we have fewer factories now, more houses, more restaurants.
Yeah, and one of the major factors in this new project is going to address the ability to be able to make our biological population happy. The bugs that treat the waste. We rely heavily upon bacteria to break the waste down in the plant.
And we need happy bugs.
We need happy bugs, and this aeration basin is going to make that happen.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Okay, so in 2013 we invested about $11 million. Now it's 2017, we're going to invest about another $10 million. And we got to pay for this.
That's right.
So what are we doing to cover these expenses?
Well, basically what we did was we had a master plan, a capital improvement master plan update, which looked at all the projects that we needed to maintain our levels of service through the next 10 years and beyond. We also did that in conjunction with a water and sewer rate study, which identified the need for us to increase our wastewater rates and water rates over time to pay for some of these capital improvements. Again, a little over $20 million in the last 5 years for a city the size of Morganton. These services are very vital, but they're not cheap. And we have to continually reinvest. And ultimately, our ratepayers are the ones that take on those costs, or at least pay a portion of those, and that's basically what the rate increases will cover. You've heard the old saying, nothing lasts forever, especially at a wastewater plant. After 40, 50 years, a lot of equipment and a lot of concrete here reaches the end of its useful life, and we have to rehab it, and in some instances we have to get brand new structures and equipment.
All right, Brad, so we've gotten the waste here, we've treated the waste, we've sent the treated water back to the Catawba River. So what are we looking at here?
Joshua, this is our compost facility. We here at the Morganton Wastewater Treatment Plant, we produce Class A biosolids. We take residual biosolids after the treatment process, we mix it with a little bit of wood chips, and we have compost operators that actually stage this in various process stages to make sure that the compost is sterile, doesn't have any microbiological activity left in it, and we screen it, it's regulated, and we sell it to the customers for $5 a cubic yard.
That seems like a pretty good deal to me. What would
Definitely.
what would we be using this for?
Mainly, this is really prescribed for shrubbery, any type of landscaping usage.
Trees.
Trees, landscape, bushes. Yeah.
Okay.
Mhm.
Fantastic.
Nurseries are our big customer. Yeah.
Well, that wraps up this episode of Morganton Matters. Brad, I appreciate you taking us around the plant here and letting us know about all the great things you do.
Sure. And our staff is here 24/7 to provide good customer service. Thanks.
Thank you.